Have you by chance seen any of the information articles that are out right now about the increase in dreaming during COVID?
I've just read highlights.
Yeah, yeah. What we're seeing is a real increase in what I would call anxiety dreams, and that there's been some sleep disturbance because it seems like the brain is sort of working out its background anxiety that we're carrying with us. We're anxious about our finances. We're anxious about, how stable our jobs are. We're anxious about when this is going to be over and what it's going to look like when it's over. We're anxious about if somebody we love is going to get the virus. And there's been a real increase in those kind of angsty or disturbing dreams.
Yeah. It's interesting because I wrote that down. Let's talk about anxiety. So strategies. What are some strategies?
Well, so anxiety, I think it's important to recognize that anxiety is normal to the human condition. So anxiety in and of itself is not an unhealthy thing. Anxiety is at the heart of what helps us survive. Anxiety causes us to study for exams. It causes us to work in order to pay our bills. And it causes us to run if we hear a big animal behind us in the woods. So it's not all anxiety is bad. And you and I have talked some about this before. It's the idea of having kind of what I would call the right amount of anxiety. And so what we're experiencing right now is, if you will, too much anxiety. And this isn't 100% true, but it's a general rule. Anxiety tends to be about the future. I've actually heard it said anxiety tends to be about the future and depression tends to be about the past. And I think what we've got going right now is that because of uncertainty, and I would speculate in my adult life, this is probably the most uncertain the future has ever looked. If we go back to 9/11, in terms of what we were going to do, things became clear in the years after 9/11. The financial crisis of 2009, even though it was painful economically, we knew what we were dealing with and had some idea of what it was going to take to get out of it, and we knew it was going to be long and hard. With this, it's such a wild card that we really don't know what to expect. And so to answer your question, one of the key challenges for everybody right now is to not borrow trouble from the future, because that's a lot of at the heart of anxiety, is that we begin to worry about the future and then we start doing contingency planning. And when things are so unpredictable right now, it's hard to even plan. Again, comparing it to the '09 financial crisis, we kind of knew what to expect 2, 3, 4 years out. And knowing what you're dealing with, even if it's painful, is much easier than not knowing what you're dealing with. And I think for most of us right now, we're not sure what we're dealing with. And you decide to get on the web and start reading about it. And the plethora of different viewpoints and information that's out there just sort of causes your eyes to glaze over. And then you start worrying, maybe the experts don't even know, which creates even more uncertainty. So that golden rule, don't borrow trouble from the future, is needed more than ever right now.
Mm-hmm. I think I told you a little bit. I've been, you and I have talked a lot about feelings and trying to process feelings. And I started journaling during the crisis. I decided, okay, I'm going to start journaling. And, by journaling, we're talking my iPad, a couple of words. This is what I'm thinking. And I have this format, this four-level format. What am I mad about? What am I sad about? What am I glad about? What am I anxious about?
So that was mad.
Sad. What am I mad about? What am I sad about? What am I glad about? What am I anxious? And I know that anxious doesn't rhyme.
Doesn't rhyme.
And I've looked for something to rhyme it. And this is an idea I got from Pete Scazzaro in New York. I was really surprised that my anxious journaling was pretty significant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a lot of anxiety that I wasn't realizing. And you and I've talked a little bit about this already, but after talking to you last time, I realized, maybe a way to deal with this. I mean, the writing down of the anxieties that I'm feeling has been helpful in itself. But there was another piece that I think I needed to also include, which was I need to come up with those things that I'm glad about.
Hmm.
In other words, the church talk, the blessings. These are the blessings. And that has helped a bit to come up with.
And I'm not surprised to hear that's helped. And I think you've seen this the last probably 6 years, 5 years, there's been a lot in the literature about how healthy gratitude is, and that focusing on it and looking for points of gratitude. And I would want to insert there to be careful about not sort of making up things that one is grateful for, but actually to be looking for substantive things that you have to be grateful for can really turn a situation around. Because I think the survival part of our brain, a few minutes ago I was saying don't borrow trouble from the future. Well, we come by that honestly because our brain tries to anticipate trouble so that we can survive. Because if I can anticipate the trouble, there's a better chance that I'm going to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
And there's some truth to that. And obviously people should do practical planning for all the practical matters of finances and resources for the family. But at some point during a crisis like this, it's important to stop that. And I think what you're saying is really helpful, because in order to stop that, you sort of need to give yourself something else to think about. And one of those things that we can think about is, what are we grateful for? And try to be as mindful, and this does take effort, this doesn't come easy, try to be as mindful for what we're grateful for as we are about what we're anxious about. On the grateful side, on the glad side, just by way of example, what have you come up with?
They've been grateful for a day spent with Janelle. On Friday, we did gardening outside. We drove to the Boring Bark together. Because I'm not going into any stores or anything, we drove to Boring Bark together to get a load of dirt. We drove to Home Depot to do curbside pickup together because I'm not going into stores. All day we were together doing a project that we felt a lot of reward from. And so that was one of those things I'm thankful for. Mm-hmm. I'm thankful for a Zoom meeting with my daughter that went for almost 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Thankful for a socially distanced dinner with our son and his wife. You just really value that stuff. Mm-hmm. And so those are some of the things I've been glad about.